Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the panel, simply click the mute button on the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share this new stream, as sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by quite a number of people. Who have we got? How are you all doing, first and foremost? Good to have you all. Hello.
Good. All is good.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, we got Alan B, Chocolate Saiyan, Jose, Mark, Sleeping Warrior, The Plain Truth, and Tim. And me. Arwin.
Are we? So anyway, I did want to ask. Sleeping, were you there, Sleeping?
Mark S. Who's this?
Is Riley there? Is he there?
He there?
So you're in a particularly good mood today, man.
See, I think Riley's hanging out at the tuft of trees.
Nice.
Or the smokestacks.
They're at the tippy top. Tippy top.
Or he was kicked while I did my intro, because this is obviously a new stream now, because I don't know why we had a glitch with the last one. I thought OBS would reconnect in time, and it didn't, so this will only be an hour-long show, unfortunately.
He's probably hiding in the optical slant.
Or getting a brew.
Yeah. If you could share my screen, that'd be good. I just don't see how the Mirage accounts for why these buildings are being like sinking. They're sinking heavily. In this P900 video, it doesn't show what you guys are explaining. Like the Mirage is covering up where the buildings actually are. There's actually buildings and highways that are right here, completely under the said flat water. So you guys can say whatever you want to and try to gaslight me and to say, oh, this is whatever, but at the end of the day, you continue to be wrong. You continue
I'm
to
seeing
do
the same
biased
right there.
observations.
You misinterpret it though, Timothy.
I misinterpret why 3/4 of the buildings are gone over water. I don't think I do.
Because the predominant light that's hitting your eyeball is a mirage. And the lesser light behind that
so you're gaslighting me. Exactly what I thought you would do. Very nice. So what I'm seeing is not what I'm actually seeing. Oh, okay.
That's what a mirage does. You know that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm seeing the same thing right over here.
So mirage makes things completely obstructed by water.
No,
Is that what
by
you're
a
saying?
reflection image.
So this Capitol State building is hundreds and hundreds of feet up on a hill. You can go look up Salt Lake City Capitol building and see where it is. So you're saying that the image is repeated back down and blocking hundreds of feet of where it's standing? I mean, that's really under the water technically. You're saying that? Or is it sinking?
As your footage rolls on, Tim, you've got a mirage, which, although it's not zoomed in as much at the moment, that is really clear, and you can see the waves interfering with the bottom half of that mirage. Now, obviously, the waves aren't obscuring the bottom of a mirage. It's a mirage, but that's actually what visually happens. You know, it's clear that there's a line dissecting the middle of these buildings, and half of them is mirage below itself. I mean, I don't know what else you want us to say.
So the mirage carries on from a higher vantage point, 22 feet. And for some reason, there's still a mirage, but lower towards the ground. But you can see more of the buildings that were obstructed lower down.
Because
So
you're at a
what is
higher
the cause
observation
of
point.
this? Okay.
It
And there's an
starts
optical
further
slant,
off.
right?
That's the slant effect you love so much.
The slant effect. Okay.
Yeah.
See, there's the Capitol building, which there is some miraging effects going on, but it's besides the point. And there's the non-standard refraction hyena there. He runs past. But the thing is
maybe I can
this is
ask
on a
you
hill.
something, Tim. So on the far right of the image currently on screen, I don't know if the audience can see it. Let's just see. They can just see one. I know you've zoomed in a bit. I know. If you can go back to where you were at.
I think I'm about to move over, pan over.
All right.
The higher you go up,
hold on just one second. Stop
further
there. Stop.
away the mirage
So
starts.
do you see these white blobs? Right, just left of frame. Well, underneath them, there's nothing. It's just empty space, right?
Yeah.
Well, is that Earth curve, empty space, or what's obscuring them? Now you tell me. Why is the bottom of this being obscured by seemingly nothing?
Actually, I believe that, as you can see, they're kind of they look overly miraged. There's actually, I guess you would call them smokestacks. You can see them kind of spit up there. Pretty sure those are I'm not sure what the point of them are, but I saw them when I drove by. It's like white smoke that comes out. There's like fire. I'm not really sure what those are for, but so there's probably needless to say, yes. They seem to be floating in midair. Yes. But the thing is I just don't see how this comports with the flat Earth. This is just an observation with the P900. I don't see how this comports with anything.
Right,
you guys
but how
used
can
to
it
deny
comport with the globe
mirages.
Earth?
Now
If you're
that's
claiming that the other things is obstructed by curvature, and yet we have something floating in air obstructed by seemingly nothing, that seems to be completely at odds with your theory that it's being obstructed by curvature.
No, there are. I never said that there were never any atmospheric conditions going on. There's always. This is 26 miles away. There's always going to be atmospheric conditions happening. Always.
So you could just attribute the obstruction to atmospheric conditions then and be done with it.
No, because there are buildings and highways. There's a whole city that's even before this that is completely gone.
Yeah,
okay?
And some of it's gone from an obstruction of nothing, air. So if there's obstruction of what seems like curvature in your presuppositional world, and there's also obstruction from air, why would you ever conclude that it's curvature if you've got air obstructing the bottom of things as well?
So you say presupposition quite a bit. Do you have any presuppositions at all throughout your life?
Probably.
You do. Okay, we all do, and it's not a bad thing. Just to let everybody know. Presuppositions are not bad in philosophy at all.
Yeah, we're not talking about philosophy here, though, are we? We're talking about the natural world. That falls under the category of science as opposed to philosophy. So while you can philosophize about what the world might be, that's wonderful. Go and smoke a crack
that's
pipe.
what you're doing.
Sit in your little dream world and philosophize.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, you can sit with your crack pipe and philosophize and muse. Me, I'm more interested in what actually occurs. And if you've got obstruction from Earth curve in your philosophical world, and we've also got obstruction from air in reality demonstratable on photographs, then it doesn't interest me. It doesn't interest me in the slightest what your musings and philosophy are on the subject.
Too late, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
well,
was
I'm not
very
interested in
obvious in
philosophy
his
of this
footage
subject.
what was there.
Hey, Jibby,
Hey,
is that going to be a fake Jibby? Probably. Is that a fake Jibby?
Yeah, he's gone. But yeah, the optical slant that Tim loves so much was demonstrated perfectly there. And the effect that was actually causing the obscuring effect was a mirage. And as he demonstrated, when you go higher up, the apparent slant, in this case caused by mirage, was displaced further away because you could clearly see more things below.
Hi,
So-
Rumpus.
Hello.
Closer you are to the ground, the more the slant starts closer to you.
Gibberish.
No. Observable fact, right
Yeah,
there.
it's an inferior mirage, by the way, Anthony. It's not a superior mirage. That Tim was. I see you've turned me down. Have you? I might as well go then. That wasn't an inferior mirage. You don't know what an inferior and superior mirage
Turning you
is.
down, leveling you up. Everybody needs to be the same volume.
Oh, right, okay. Well, you have a habit of turning me down to the point no one can hear me.
Yeah, that's because you're a knob. Why
No,
don't you understand?
I'm 100% right. That's the point. And you don't know what an inferior mirage is. And that inversion layer that you were just describing.
Let's discuss it then. You tell me what the difference between a superior and an inferior mirage is, Rumpus.
A superior mirage appears above the object that's being miraged, and inferior appears below it. You don't usually get inferior mirages below the horizon.
No, the reference point is the horizon, not the object.
No, and that is an inferior mirage you've got there.
No, you're full of shit. That's wrong.
No, you don't know what you're talking about. As usual, you're 100% wrong. I mean, you're almost as wrong. You're 99% wrong. You're not quite 100% wrong.
Nathan,
but you're wrong
how long
usual
is it left on this show?
Sorry?
He's just looking for a reason to kick you, Rumpy.
Yeah, I think he is, yeah.
Nathan, how long's left on this show?
Half an hour.
Yeah, but a little under an hour, maybe 45 minutes.
That's long enough. Right, so Rumpus, can you give us a demonstration with pictures of a superior mirage, and we'll compare and we'll compare.
Okay, well, I'll show you an inferior one. I've got ones ready here to go on an inferior mirage to show you what an inferior mirage is. Oh, actually, this is the one you were just looking at. Let me just go to a clearer one. Where the bloody hell did I put it? Oh, God, I had it selected a moment ago. Unbelievable. Oh, unbelievable. Yeah. I just had it there a moment ago.
Classic Rumpy Pumpy.
It was just bloody there.
Bugger.
I'll have to scroll back. There we go. Right, so here is an example of a clear example of curvature in action and the inferior mirage. So you should be able to see here this area here, as Anthony likes to point out, and Nathan likes to point out in regular intervals, there is a layer then in what's I'm going to call an inversion layer. And this is what people like Andrew Young on their website call a fold line. And I should make it clear because if I've got the right damn thing up.
Right. And what is it doing?
Oh, there we go. Right. Right. So here's the same picture with just a couple of annotations on it. Right. So here's what's called the fold line. The image from up here to down there is inverted and in here, but also compressed usually. As you can see by this turbine blade, and this angle is repeated over here, there's an angle here showing this is more bent than that is. And this is the effect that you were showing in your Phuket images of the bridge. All that's happening is you're dealing with there's an air here that's usually heated on the result of, on a warm day, and you get a refractive inversion. So this has a lower refractive index than the air above it. And because it's close to the ground, gets heated, gets less dense. Because it gets heated, it expands, less refraction. So this is usually only about sort of 3 or 4 meters, 5 up to 10 meters high. And so you get these effects, and that's not going to account, which is what Nathan's and Riley's contention is with Tim the idiot, is that he couldn't explain very well because he's an idiot. What this cannot account for everything that's disappearing due to the curvature of the Earth, and we can see that. So if it's looking at these wind turbines, we can see the area that is inverted, but that in no way accounts for all of the missing turbines. So this is a clearer example of what Tim was just showing, but this is just because we know the size of these objects and they're regular sized geometrical objects, we know where the bottoms of them are, whereas with these buildings, we don't quite know where the bottom of the building is going to be, etc., etc., etc. But we can tell here, and we can see that this area here, you can see my pointer, so that's where the inferior mirage is occurring, does not account for the missing parts of the wind turbine. So your whole attempt to discard, to pack into the missing parts of objects due to curvature into this little area where there's an inversion layer is absolutely desperate and idiotic. And the fact you were trying to show that picture of Phuket's and then saying the same effects on soundless video, it's irrelevant because you can look at the tops. You try and avoid, isolate your variables, get away from the bottom, look at what the top's doing, where you do not have the inversion layer. So inferior mirages are below the fold line, and they cannot account for the curvature of the Earth. Well, have I been kicked? Perhaps,
You're still here.
Oh, right. Okay, that's unusual. I thought I was expecting to be kicked by Anthony at this stage. I've saying
No,
things
you don't need to be kicked.
Oh, I'm usually kicked. Well, anyway.
No, you're not.
Right.
You are usually kicked, but it's not because of me or because of.
Oh, that's right. Tim kicked me last time. So I actually came on here to kick him. Actually, little bastard. Anyway,
to kick Tim.
Yeah, I came on here to kick him. Actually, that was my main reason for coming on.
Well, right.
Little wanker. Anyway, he's stupid as well. He couldn't answer the point you were making. He was obfuscating, but he wasn't obfuscating. He couldn't cope with the issues at hand, so he couldn't give you proper answers. I've given you the proper answers. Explains everything: the inversion layer, the miraging, infrared miraging, and you still can't account for all the missing parts of the wind turbines. In this example, where it's much clearer with a geometrical shape, which we know the heights of everything, as opposed to Tim's video.
All right, Rumpus. You said about 3 weeks ago that if I released the video, you would.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, I've been a bit poorly, and I've been a bit busy, and I had hoped to have that done by the weekend. Philip and I are going to do a week. I'm preparing quite a substantial hangout on your recent video. We've got most of the work done. We've got all the modelling done, and I'm just trying to generate a rather nice web page about it, and it's taking me forever. So it's not Phil's fault.
All right.
So, and that will happen that will happen tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow evening.
Given that you haven't done it yet, what channel is it going to be on?
It'll be on my channel.
Okay. So is it worth preempting a little bit of the maths, or should we wait until tomorrow?
Well, I've already shown you some. 2 weeks ago, I did actually show you some of the modelling. Hello, you've already seen some of the graphs, but we've got more now. And now that we've established you're at 3 meters high, when you told me that you were at foot, and I said to you immediately, I bet you're at a meter. And then when I saw the video, you may recall, immediately I saw your video, I said you're about 3 meters high. I now have a mathematical analysis, which is similar to flat Earth mass, demonstrating you are in fact at 3 meters.
What the hell are you talking about? It's been measured. Why do we need a mathematical analysis? It's been measured.
So we had to remodel our ray tracing diagrams to allow for
Rumpus, why would you need a mathematical equation when it's been measured?
No, he got it wrong. He got his measurement wrong.
Sorry, have you gone down and remeasured it?
I can see, if you look at the video that he took.
Have you gone down and remeasured it?
I don't need to, because I've got the video.
Sorry, is that a no? You haven't remeasured it?
No, I haven't remeasured it because I don't need to.
Right, then I'm not interested. I'm not interested in your guesswork. Not interested in your guesswork based on not interested. Not interested. If any of this is, I will disregard anything you present out of hand if it's presented at 10, anything above a foot.
Yeah, well, that's because you're an idiot. If you look at the video evidence,
I've seen the video evidence, and I've been to the location, and I've seen how much relief is there, and Anthony has measured it.
He hasn't. You can prove.
Yes, he has.
Because you see, but he didn't measure to the tide in the same place, did he? So the
doesn't make any difference.
His elevation from the sea level was different. And the photographic evidence that he provided makes it absolutely clear that he was at 3 meters.
No,
I can prove this.
Total
bullshit.
Yeah, you don't understand geometry, Arwin, or anything at all.
Again, Arwin.
Bullshit.
You're an idiot, Arwin. You don't know what sine. You don't know what trigonometry is. How can you have an opinion?
Has nothing to do with.
You do not have. You're not qualified to
3
have
meters.
an opinion.
Bullshit.
You're not qualified to have an opinion. I can.
He's equally as qualified as anybody else to have an opinion.
With geometry, how high Anthony was, and it should be obvious to anybody who looking at the video that the figures were underneath the horizon, and in his refutation video of flat Earth math, the figures were above the horizon.
Between 1 and 2 feet, Rumpus.
Let me finish my point. In the refutation video that Anthony took, in which he supposedly measured things, you'll see that all the figures that he was taking video of were above the horizon, not below it, as in the original.
That's not true. Let's deal with that point. Nathan, would you present my screen? Let's deal with that. But that one assertion will just show that you're completely lying about. Nathan,
there are no figures that are below the horizon to the level of the ones that are on your original video.
Okay, can you just let him address it, Rumpus?
Okay.
So you're saying all the figures were above the horizon? Is that what?
Well, not there were some children, I think, the word, but there were lots of figures that were. Whereas in your original video, they were well below the horizon.
I made a specific point of addressing, what's his name, Ruhif. Because Ruhif thought that all these people's heads would be above the horizon as well. Can you see any heads above the horizon on this picture?
I've got to click on your thingy, I suppose. Hold on.
By the way, Rumpus,
Yeah, they're very much below. Okay. Right, so as you go down...
So that means your previous statement that all the heads were above the horizon was nonsense, correct?
No, when you come to your fixed... Obviously, when you're going towards it, you idiot. I'm not talking about when you're going towards your position. I'm talking about from your observation position, for Christ's sake.
Watch what happens now, Rumpus.
Riley, you're a giant.
Now, when you go down, when you go down on the ground, let's see what happens.
Right, I'm zooming in to make it better.
Get on the ground. Let's wait for you to get on the ground.
Can we all establish that there is no heads above the horizon?
When you get on the ground, we're not talking about when the different observation position. For Christ's sake, be sensible.
And even when I drop down,
get down on the ground.
Only people, Rumpus, are these people close to me.
There we go.
Anybody else above the horizon?
Shut up.
Well, it's very okay. We got very close. Nothing like the same in your video.
Rumpus, you said that I showed that everybody's heads were above the horizon in my response video, and that's not true, is it?
Are you down in the right position yet?
Yes, I'm on my knee. Look, you see me go down. Are you watching?
Yeah, I saw you go down, but are you down at the ground? Have you put the camera on the sand at this point?
No, he's on stills.
No, there we go. Right, so we've got... There we go.
What, so do you think that would suddenly make all these people's heads pop above the horizon? You're a moron, Rumpus. You're an absolute idiot. You have no idea.
Are you in the fully descended position here?
Yes. I've gone from 6 feet eye level down to about 2 feet, maybe 1 foot.
Right, so you're not down at the position you were. Great.
So you think that would make all these heads magically pop above the horizon?
You've just admitted. You've just admitted. You've just admitted you're at 2 feet. You're not on the ground.
Perspective.
You've just admitted you're not on the ground.
Skills to be able to respond.
You've just admitted you were not on the ground at this point, and they will. You've just admitted you were not on the ground at this point.
Right, look. Oh my God. Look at the video. Look what happens. 6 foot. Zoomed in a bit to make it easier.
You're not in the observer position yet, and there's no point in showing us positions. Right, there we go. Right, so we're getting there. But you say even here you're at 2 feet. Right.
Well, no, I've gone from 6 feet down to ankle height.
2 feet.
A foot.
Well, you said 2 feet just a moment ago.
Right, you can have 2 feet. But
right,
that extra 2 feet.
And when you go down another
horizon,
those people will approach the.
No, Rumpus.
We've already
Your
got
claim was when I made the response video was that everybody's heads were above the horizon, and that's not true, is it?
Okay, I'll withdraw that.
Thank you very much.
I thought there was a point when you went lower down.
You're honest enough to withdraw it.
And I mean, you saying this is the lower point. I thought there was. Well, anyway, it's so obvious that they're nothing like us the same position.
No, they're about the same position, Rumpus. Do we need to get the other video up to see?
Right, does this in any way prove a sphere Earth?
No, it just proves that Rumpus doesn't.
No, it can change the observer height, so that's just part of it. That's just part of it. I mean, all the calculations we've got with the modelling of the thing is the proof, but this was just an issue about the observer height.
Sorry, modelling isn't proof of anything. We're humouring you in that regard. We're going to see how your model gets on, but it doesn't prove anything. Let's get that absolutely clear.
Absolutely proves it.
No, you will assume a radius value which you have absolutely no proof of. So if you're going to claim this is proof, prove the R value that your model is based on first.
Very easy. Very easy.
Do you have scientific evidence of the radius of Earth?
Body of science provides it.
Shut your mouth about the body of science and listen to what I've asked you for. Do you have scientific evidence of this R value you will use in your model?
Body of science.
Not body of science.
Yes.
You stupid religious zealot. Do you have scientific evidence of the R value you have just claimed will prove something as you presuppose that you are on a sphere? Your presupposition will prove absolutely nothing.
Been peer reviewed by scientists.
I couldn't give a crap what's been peer reviewed. That's why I keep asserting scientific evidence of. Not asking for your crappy peer review, you religious fundamentalist zealot. I don't give a crap what your other priests say.
Science denier. Right, so you're not prepared to accept the body of science, and yet you're also not prepared to accept going and doing the observation yourself. If Rand had taken a theodolite with him...
Listen to me, dumbass. I'm not interested in what the priests say, and I'm not interested in what we can do going forward. Now you've asserted that this proves something, I'm going to tear you a new asshole. You haven't got any scientific evidence of the R value you will use in your absolutely shite pseudoscience proves nothing model.
So you reject the body of science.
Look, dickhead, doesn't matter how many times you say, the body of science. It won't change that you have absolutely sod all scientific evidence for the R value you will insert when you model.
So you reject the body of science and you reject...
I reject an R value that has no scientific evidence to back it.
Body of science and your own...
Body of science isn't scientific evidence. That's men in white coats talking to each other and peer reviewing. Now, listen to me again, dickhead. Your presuppositional model proves nothing. And we are humouring you because you must presuppose a radius for Earth in order to model it as a sphere.
Measured, peer-reviewed, and proved.
Peer-reviewed, like I give a crap.
Don't like that process.
If you had scientific evidence of the radius, you would simply say, here's my scientific evidence. You wouldn't go around eulogising about the body of science, because we don't care about the body of science. We don't care. Science is a method. We are not interested in the body of science, only in the methodology used to establish the R value. You don't have that. It is a presuppositional value, and that is the end of it. Pseudoscience models do not prove anything. Get it through your religious head.
Science uses the science.
Did you just call me religion?
Yeah. If you have no proof of R, it is your religious belief in R.
So you're not prepared to accept other people's experiments. You're not prepared to accept
what
your
experiment?
Own. You're not prepared to accept any, are you?
What experiment?
You're not prepared to accept experiments that you could conduct. Or
what experiments have I not accepted?
Right, go and get Ranty to do the theodolite experiment, and he'll come back and answer the radius.
What experiment to prove R have I rejected?
The one that you get to Ranty to do. You won't let him do it.
Not to do, you stupid zealot. We are in 2018 and have had 2,000 years of acceptance that we are on a sphere. That value is already in effect, you stupid little man. Now, if you have no scientific evidence of it, I am not in the slightest bit interested in what we can do going forward to prove it. It's already in use by people like NASA, who plan trajectories around this fantasy sphere using this fantasy R value, which you have no scientific evidence for.
Oakley. And used successfully, yeah, by NASA. So they use it successfully because it's established.
They use it successfully? What an absolute horseshit example. NASA use it successfully, therefore it's real. That's scientific evidence, is it, you complete moron? What have they done to actually prove this R value?
Don't you fancy contradicting them, Nathan, though? Don't you fancy invalidating this established value?
No, it's already being used. I'm a YouTuber. I'm not NASA. I don't have a budget. There is already an R value that is established and being used. I want the proof of that value. Not the one that I can go out and examine for myself. The one that is currently being used.
And proved and peer-reviewed, yes. But you're not...
Not proved! What's your scientific evidence to back this R value?
It's been peer-reviewed.
I don't care how peer-reviewed it's been. I want your scientific evidence. You're clearly deaf. If you don't understand what scientific evidence is, I will explain it, you complete retard.
Evidence appears in the body of science.
No.
Peer-reviewed, Nathan.
Peer review is not scientific evidence.
What do you mean it's not evidence? That's how the scientific system works. Peer review is a fundamental part of the scientific system.
No, it isn't. It is not a part of science. Nowhere in the scientific method does it say you have to peer review. It says you require systematic experimentation. So, what is your experiment that has been performed to prove the value of R?
Science is more than the scientific method.
No, science is not more than the scientific method, Rumpus, you complete idiot. You retard, you fool. Science is the scientific method. You are a retard. If you think there is more to it than that, science is the scientific method.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is, you retard. I don't care what you think the scientific method is. It is science. That is science. Whether you like it is beyond me. I don't care what you like. You think science is peer review. You think science is men in white coats talking to each other. Well, you are a moron.
The motto of the Royal Society is take nobody's word for it.
I don't give a crap what the motto of some society is. Science is a method, whether you like it or not.
The scientific method is just part of science.
No, it is science. The scientific method is science. Whether you like it or not, Rumpus, you complete retard.
I understand what science is.
And it's the peer review process.
No, it isn't. It is not the peer-reviewed process.
Exactly.
Yeah, well done. Who said that? I agree. Well done. Whoever said that?
Pal. We were in some shows doing Quiplash together. Remember, Rumpus?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. So there we go. So science is not just the scientific method.
Yes, it is. Science is the scientific method. Not just anything. The science is the scientific method. That is end of sentence. End of story. It doesn't matter what this retard Rumpus says. It is a fact. Doesn't matter what he says.
More than the scientific method.
No, it isn't. Science is the scientific method. I will just say it continually.
You can only to be absolutely real through the scientific method.
With the peer review process.
No. The peer review process does not come into the scientific method. Systematic experimentation does. So if you have an experiment that can prove your value of R, then I will listen to it. Then I'll rip it a new asshole. Till then, you telling me that other men in other white coats have talked to each other and patted each other on the back and told each other that they are correct does not come into the scientific method.
Was part of the consensus when he proposed special relativity. He broke the consensus. So science is not about adhering to the consensus. If you've got proof, you can break the consensus with scientific method, and he did many times.
Scientific evidence would furnish you with proof. That's why I keep asking you for scientific evidence. If you think you can prove something with a model based on a presupposition, you are a retard.
No suppositions at all. You can prove it yourself.
Yes, you have a presupposition of a value of R. That's why I keep asking for your scientific evidence of your value R, and you don't have any. You start telling me how important peer review is.
Nathan, are you frightened of working out the value yourself? Are you frightened with what you would find?
I'm not interested in working out the value for myself. I am a YouTuber, and we have a body, an organisation, the body of science. These are the people who tap each other on the back and tell each other that it is perfectly acceptable to have a value of R with absolutely no scientific evidence to actually back it.
Millions of peer reviews by millions of people.
Not interested in peer review. Science is about systematic experimentation. That is what science is. It is a method. It is not about men in white coats tapping each other on each other's backs and telling that their paper is correct. That it looks good. It doesn't matter to me what peer review says. I couldn't care less about peer review. It does not come into science. Science being a method.
May I say something, Mr. Oakley?
Do what you like.
Yes, please. I'm going to say that this is how this is the difference between peer review and the scientific method. The scientific method deals with observation, hypothesis, experiments, data analysis, and conclusion. The peer review process, however,
not interested in the peer review process because we're observing the Earth as a sphere. Apparently, that is a phenomenon that we can observe and examine. Now, I am pointing out that there is a piece of information contained within a value. That value would be R, and I am asking for the scientific method to adhere to proving that value.
I'm not finished.
Yeah, let him finish. Thank you.
Yes, the peer review process, however, helps to out scientists who have deliberately or accidentally had errors creep in. For example, I forget what the thing was, but some scientists had posted their results for a supposed missing link, but other scientists from the University of Oxford,
Piltdown Man, I think you're talking about.
Yeah, the Piltdown Man. Well, yeah, that's the name of it. Scientists, other people from the University of Oxford ran this guy's results through the ringer and found he was making shit up. The peer review process is there to keep scientists honest.
Yeah. There was nothing about the Piltdown Man that was scientific. There was no scientific method adhered to when that discovery was put out. That was not peer reviewing science. What the hell are you talking about?
What do you mean?
Peer reviewing does not automatically involve the scientific method.
Experiments were done on that Piltdown Man in terms of investigating its anatomy and things, and comparing it using comparative anatomy to establish that it was similar to our ancestors. And then
sorry, experiments. So they were observing phenomena. Then what was the phenomena that they observed exactly when they were looking at Piltdown Man?
The homology between the structure of the bones and our bones, and therefore demonstrated. So they were saying, how long is
Sorry,
this
what was
radius,
the observed phenomenon? What was the phenomenon that they observed?
The structure of the bones they were examining, and they were comparing it against the bones.
Concrete noun. That's not an observed phenomenon now, is it?
Yes, it is. Of course it is. The shape and structure of a bone is an observed phenomenon.
That's not a phenomenon. That's a concrete noun. The shape of a tree is not a phenomenon. A tree with leaves falling off it, that would be a phenomenon now, wouldn't it?
What?
Just looking at bones is not observing a phenomenon.
You don't think a tree is a phenomenon? It's not. It's a thing to be observed.
No, it's a concrete noun.
You're saying we can't study trees.
It's not a phenomenon. No, it's not a phenomenon. If you just look at a tree, that would be a mere observation.
So we can't study trees now. You're saying?
Not scientifically. There's no phenomena to observe. If there's a phenomena like leaves falling off, then you can apply the scientific method.
Okay, botany's out of it. There's the classification of trees, and botany's right out because Nathan says it's not science. You idiot.
And since trees involve agriculture, that also destroys agriculture.
Yeah, agriculture as well.
We shouldn't be alive.
Yeah, it's all none of it. Right, great. That's half of science.
Both idiots.
You are an absolute idiot, Nathan.
No, science requires a phenomena to observe. That's the end of that story.
The structure of a tree is a phenomena. Structure of a plant.
A tree is not a phenomena. It's just a tree.
It doesn't have to be moving. It can just be a
You're a retard.
Razor,
you don't know what a phenomena is. You're a retard.
You're an idiot if you don't think structure is a phenomenon.
Still,
I have a question for Rumpus, if I may.
Go ahead.
To try to bring a little sanity and change subject just a tiny bit.
Yes.
How can you explain, Rumpus, observations that has been made that appears to be a layer in the atmosphere that if you go up, you don't see it. If you go underneath it, you don't see it. But when you are looking through that layer of atmosphere, you see inversions of mirroring effects up and down. How can you explain that?
I didn't. I'm afraid you're going to have to show me a diagram or a picture or something. I didn't fully understand your point, I'm afraid.
Like the observation that Ranty made, when you go underneath a certain layer of the atmosphere.
Yeah. Right, you're talking about Ranty's video. Yes, I haven't fully examined Ranty's video, but given the fact that he's got every single thing wrong he's ever done, I'm sure there'll be a problem somewhere. But yes, he does. I must admit, actually, but looking at the video, there does seem to be what is known as a ducting effect. I'm going to go and investigate this. Because he's actually, unlike the inferior mirages.
It's a duct tape solution, is it?
And we saw Tim Osmond's video and in the wind turbine thing I was showing earlier, those were clear single layer inversion layers. Whereas in Ranty's video, from what I could see, the inversion was happening above the. It was not happening from the horizon upwards. It was actually happening in a duct. So I suspect he was having unusual conditions, but I'm not going to. Yeah, I haven't looked that properly. I'm still busy working on Riley's video, Anthony's video, to finish that before I get on to Ranty's one. But Ranty's a terrible, terrible, terrible record of getting everything so wrong. He still thinks that moving cameras is the same as zooming in, for instance. And he thought Ireland and Langhouse lighthouses and things, and God knows what else. You know, I mean, I've never known anyone to be so determined to be wrong in the world. Anyway, but
this is a very visual example. You can see it when he go inches of the when you go inches above the ground, you can see underneath that mirroring layer that creates mirrors up and down. You know.
Yeah, and I think what we've got here is an issue of ducting. I mean, you can get all sorts of strange effects if you look at various mirages. I mean, I've got one here of the. Let me just. I mean, we've all seen ships and things where you've got multiple inferior and superior mirages above the ships. And that's caused by ducting, you get several layers of inversions occurring because the atmosphere is a dynamic thing. And when you get and remember, we're talking about looking through 50 miles worth of air, and some parts will be going up and down and vice versa, depending on winds, warm air coming in. And when you've got 50-mile stretch, you can have all sorts of strange, wacky things going on. And while I'm here, I'd just like to point out that Mark's attempt at that Z transform thing was absolutely idiotic, and he clearly doesn't understand geometry to save his life.
So how is that all miraging all over the place, up and down, and simultaneously going over the curve, making it appear perfectly flat? Can you explain that?
You're referring to Ranty's video now, are you?
Yeah.
I haven't fully examined Ranty's video, but I've looked.
Well, you're already drawing a conclusion that it's ducting.
Well, it looks. I mean, superficially, my first analysis, on simple first look, it looks like there's some ducting going on. But I haven't looked at it fully to see whether or not what we can see. And then look superficially, yes, it does seem to have problems. The Metabunk calculator does seem to have some problems with what Ranty's done. But I haven't fully checked the distances. I haven't fully checked what we can see. So I haven't come to an opinion fully, but I suspect, given they've got this strange inversion halfway, some distance up, that there is something called ducting going, which is an established phenomenon. So, so it could be that when he goes there again, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to make a prediction here. Probably shouldn't really. I predict that he will not get the same effect again, or is unlikely
really?
to. I'm only about 50-60% confident that, because it could be that the particular meteorological conditions there with that pool and things and the bank of sand means it always gets hot, and therefore it could be some sort of semi-stable atmospheric conditions there. But my inclination is to say I'll go for a 60% chance that he won't be able to get it again. But, right. But I probably shouldn't say that. But I'm being a bit.
He did a calculation according to the Metabunk. It should have been obscured by at least 700 foot of bulge from the water.
That's Riley's calculation. That's what Anthony's video says, 700 feet. Yeah, I've got the modeling.
Like 300, whatever. He's basically, his camera is directly over the sea. It's almost perfectly sea level. And you can see straight on to the land on the other side.
Anthony or Ranty here? Sorry, I missed a bit. We're talking about Anthony or Ranty.
Does it really matter?
Both of them. Both of them. They can just see straight over the ocean.
Well, okay. Well, I've only examined
at perfect sea level.
Well, Anthony's
1 or 2 feet above that.
No, well, I haven't checked Ranty's because he can't measure anything, and also
Riley, it's the same damn thing.
No, it isn't. Anthony's 3 meters above the sea level.
No, that's bullshit.
No, that's because you don't.
That's absolute bullshit.
I will be demonstrating this and proving this in the Hangout.
Demonstrating it? What are you measuring?
Yeah, you're demonstrating it.
What are you gonna measure it?
You don't see how this is what makes you a joke in the globe community, man. Like you're the worst argument for the globe. Like it's ridiculous.
Because of what? So what way are you better?
I'm not
saying
you're
global or you're flat earther?
I'm a flat earther.
Oh, well, you're an idiot then, obviously. So your opinion doesn't count.
Obviously, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Do you know trigonometry? Okay. Let's establish if you're an idiot or not. Do you know what the sine function is?
Listen, every time somebody asks you
a question,
you can't answer the question.
I've answered
you can't answer anything.
Hold on, what haven't
I
answered?
Answer anything,
what haven't answered? What haven't answered?
You're ridiculous.
Go on, chocolate. Tell me a question I haven't answered. One.
What's your scientific evidence of the R value?
The body of science.
Sorry, the body of science is the answer to your scientific evidence of R. Your answer is the body of science. That is literally the most stupid thing I've ever heard you say as a response to that question. You are quite literally retarded. Do you realise that, Rumpus?
Ask another guy what he thinks about his observation, and that's evidence.
So, Chocolate, you think the whole body of scientific, peer-reviewed scientific method employed...
No, not scientific method. Peer review does not come into that, Rumpus. Why do you keep saying that? I don't get it. You keep saying that peer review is part of the scientific method, and it is not. The scientific method is science. That's it. End of story. There's no other thing to add to that.
You could do it yourself with a theodolite. Borrow a theodolite.
Yeah, sorry. Why is it that he's just... You've just asked what you haven't been answered. He asked you, what haven't I answered, yeah? And I'm saying you haven't given me an answer for scientific evidence of the R value.
The body of science has numerous examples of that. In fact, I can link you to a geodetic book which goes into this.
Sorry, geodetic would be working on the presupposition that they're on a sphere to begin with, would they not?
No, they're not.
No. Yes, they are. Yeah, that by nature is geodesy.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
They're behind you.
And if you don't believe them, Nathan, you could go and find out.
Sorry, it's not about belief. Let's just get it clear. I'll ask again for scientific evidence of the R value.
the body of science with.
No, you keep saying it. The body of science. Yeah, the body of science, like a religious zealot, over and over again.
Experiments.
What experiment?
Peer-reviewed
What experiment? What experiment?
Show one. Show one.
Okay, I can show you this geodetic book. Okay, I'll give you a link to this geodetic book.
An experiment. Let's hear the experiment, Rumpus. What's the experiment?
I don't have an individual one. I did supply you with some before.
What experiment? What experiment?
I don't have a particular one in hand.
You don't have an experiment? Well, the scientific method requires systematic experimentation, Rumpus, you complete retard. Are you stupid, Rumpus? The scientific method requires systematic experimentation, and you don't have an experiment for R? You're telling me that in 2,000 years of accepting this value, you don't have an experiment that you can quickly lay your hands on? What kind of a retarded system is this?
Do you have access to papers? Do you have the access to the scientific literature papers like Nature? If you can, I can link you to them. If you can't,
sorry, I'm asking you for the experiment.
Yes, and it's described in papers like Nature, for which you have to have
What's the experiment?
of £100 a year.
What experiment? What experiment?
I don't have a subscription to Nature.
What is the experiment?
Then how do you even know if you don't have a subscription?
Because it's been peer-reviewed and accepted, I know.
No, you keep saying this word peer-reviewed and working it in like it has some meaning, Rumpus. It doesn't. I'm asking you for scientific evidence of the R value.
And you can go and measure it yourself, Nathan.
No. I'm saying it's already in effect and has been for 2,000 years. Therefore, I'm not interested in what I can go and measure myself. I'm asking you to have a very quick look around and see what's available to you now. Present tense. Yeah? And show us why we have an established R value already.
Why aren't you interested in disproving it with a simple observation?
I'm not interested because it's already established by society that we live on a sphere. Right, Rumpus? So we already have an R value. We don't need to do anything going forward. I'm asking what experiments have been done to establish this value to date. It's very simple.
Do an experiment, Nathan, that would invalidate the spherical Earth.
Present it then. Present your experiment, Rumpus.
Well, I haven't done a personal theodolite measurement, but I know that it has been done.
Theodolite test is useless. We have an apparent horizon that proves nothing. It's been debunked. It's been completely debunked already by Anthony, who's on the panel.
Except that experts who are paid lots and lots of money, and the peer review process guarantees the.
Why do you keep saying this? Why is it that we keep asking for scientific evidence, and you keep babbling on about the peer review process?
Do you think Einstein had lots of money when he invalidated the fact that time doesn't?
Who cares? We're asking for scientific evidence of R.
Yeah, but I'm demonstrating to Arwin that it does not require you to have lots of money to invalidate the accepted consensus.
I'm not asking about invalidation. I'm asking for scientific evidence of the R value.
Okay, well, I'll provide you with this link to a geodetic book then, which goes into these.
What's the experiment?
And I can't remember if it does experiments in there as well.
So in 2,000 years of acceptance of this value, you can't even remember an experiment that validates it. That's pretty pathetic, Rumpus. You're normally a mind of information when it comes to the sphere, and yet an experiment to validate the sphere itself, or its radius, you can't remember. That's incredible.
Okay, I'll provide you with this geodetic book.
Wait, this history this year is...
Sorry, is this geodetic book an experiment?
He trusts the body of science. He loves the body of science.
He's a zealot.
He has a relationship with the body of science. But he's never actually met the body of science. He just has an internet relationship. He doesn't really know if the body of science really is what the body of science says it is.
It's peer reviewed.
But he loves her anyway.
Hey, Rumpus, and that's coming from a man who lives in one room all his life.
Not all my life. Just the last 4 years.
Sorry, let's not get onto ad homs. Let's not get distracted from the fact that literally I've asked for scientific evidence of this R value, and suddenly Rumpus is all vague and doesn't know where to find one and can provide me with a book, but can't tell me what experiment would be in that book.
It's a geodetic book which goes into all the reasons why the Earth is a sphere.
Sorry, what's the experiment that they do?
I can't remember if they...
You can't remember. So in 2,000 years of globe acceptance, when asked to prove the radius, the value it's all based on, the value